And that's it leads me to another question I have, and that is about economic development, which is always important here in Nebraska, and the creation of business and attracting business. Do you have any thoughts to share with us on that?
Well, again, you know, it's hard because I look at some of these kinds of programs and people go, oh, why are we giving them tax relief? But at the same time, I think we need to be real clear about what is the benefit, and we can't just be giving tax relief or giving them less taxes to attract a new business unless that business is actually going to produce more taxes in the long run. And I think you can look at Cabela's and you can see that it actually, even though it did get some tax breaks, in the long run, the number of jobs it brought in, the things that it did for the state of Nebraska and the community of Omaha, that was a good investment. But I don't think we can just do that willy-nilly. And so I think it's looking at those kinds of things. But then what are the other kinds of businesses that maybe aren't so labor intensive or that, you know, might not be huge? And back to the truck driving, I know that Southeast Community College has capacity in some of those kinds of transportation jobs. I think the other community colleges in the state are already full, but how do we get kids? And it's almost like we've got the zoo school and we've got the arts and humanities school in Lincoln. But should there be more transportation kinds of schools so that the child that isn't necessarily going to be an artist or be an arts and humanities professional could start out thinking about a career early on, because a big part of what we want to do is keep those kids too. And just today it was looking at how many people the numbers of people that are moving to the south and to the southwest. And we don't want to be a state of all old people, because then it's going to be that much harder on the tax base.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Now, one of the big resources for Nebraska is the University of Nebraska, which is located here in Lincoln. And do you think that the state could have a stronger partnership with the university?
Well, I think sometimes we almost get adversarial. I think that the legislature and the state, and I would say even not-for-profits, because one of the things that I saw as we were talking about Antelope Valley was, okay, we get all these good jobs, but are they going to be for low-income people? And then what are we going to do for housing if people are moved out of some of those areas? And what can we do to help people that are disenfranchised or don't have a lot of income to be able to have better jobs, that it isn't only for the highly educated person. But I think that years ago I saw a program that talked about bringing people together from all different kinds of ethnic, income, education, age levels, and basically it was like a game. They gave them the budget and they said, you guys have to figure this out. And so that the older people had to look at it and say, okay, if we give everybody 90 years and older a hip replacement, what do we take away from the kids or education or some other things? And at the end of the day, the people went, oh, and actually could put themselves in other people's shoes.
Sure.
And back when I was doing the consulting, I went to Harvard to the course on negotiation. Dave Landis did it, and so I heard about it. And I think we've got to get people to come together and put themselves in other people's shoes and quit looking at it all as so proprietary. And one of the scary things about the Nebraska State Legislature is who gets to be a legislator. And I think that was part of my commitment. I'm one of the few people that probably is kind of a middle-class person that doesn't either have a vested interest or isn't the landed gentry, that actually, because of frugality and parents' frugality, can take this time to try to earn a position as a leader for $12,000 a year. And then when I look at my opponent isn't abiding by the campaign finance reform, I'm going, who wants to spend more than $89,000, which is where the limits are for campaign for legislature, to go after a job like that? What's the vested interest in getting that position? And so I think it's very hard, and part of it is because it's left up to this people to vote, and they go, oh, it's a part-time job. But these are very heady, very difficult decisions that need to be made, and you need to have people in there that care about the greater community and are willing to do the work that needs to be done to answer some of these sticky questions. And I wish I could go in and say, I'm, you know, Mensa, I'm brilliant and I know it, but, you know, have all the answers, but I don't. But I'm willing to at least think about what we could do and try to engage people and get them involved in coming up with what would look like a better Nebraska.
That sounds great, Susan. Susan Scott is running for LD 29 for the state legislature. And we wish her a lot of luck, and we want to see her in there. And please come down to Lancaster County Democrats' monthly meetings on the third Tuesday of every month at 25th and N Streets at the Communication Workers of America Union Hall. You'll get to meet people like Susan Scott and many other progressive candidates, and you can get to work on their campaigns. I mean, this is an exciting time. We can bring real change to Nebraska, something that's positive, something that supports our families, our children, the economy. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. This has been fun.
Good.
Well, I've got